Well, welcome to this video. I'd like to walk you through the How Do Snowmen See in a Blizzard activity. And this activity is applying percents. The first step is to really understand what a percent is. So that's where we'll start. And then we'll work through the 10 examples in this activity. I do want to encourage you to write out your work for each of the 10 problems. And that work will be turned in for a grade. You'll also have the opportunity to type in your answers. And when you type in your answers, you'll get additional credit towards your grade for that. Now, when you type in your answers, there is a riddle, and the riddle is, how do snowmen see in a blizzard? If you have the answer to each of the 10 questions correct, and you use those correct answers to complete the riddle at the bottom of the page, then you'll get the answer to how snowmen see in a blizzard. If you type that answer in, it'll count as some insurance towards your score on this activity. And by insurance, I mean it's kind of like extra credit. You get extra points added to your score, but your score can't go above 100. So it's like insurance if you miss something, but it's not like extra credit where you can end up with 110% on the quiz. And speaking of percent, 110% would mean 110 points out of 100 points, because percent always means per or out of 100. Percent means out of 100. Really, a percent is great for getting a good understanding of a value. For example, when I say 37% of the students in the room liked Marvel, then you have a picture. You can imagine in a room 37 out of 100, and you see, well, that's less than half. Or you say, oh, that's quite a few. That's almost 4 in 10, or so on, right? But that percent is what gives us a point of reference. A score on a test. If I were to say your score is 12 out of 19, you don't really have a complete reference for that until you calculate it into a percent. Let me pull out my calculator. If I did 12 out of 19, that's 12 divided by 19. 12 points, that sounds kind of good, right? But it's not, because when I put that in the calculator, 12 out of 19, 12 divided by 19, gives me 0.6315. If I rounded that to the nearest hundredth, that'd be 0.63, which is 63%, which is not a very good score. But that 12 points out of 19 isn't as easy to comprehend how that compares to a good grade. So let's look a little closer at some of these examples. But remember, per, out of, cent, 100, and that's all there is to it. If you think of cent, not sent like I sent my friend a card, not the cent, but cent as in century or centipede or centimeter. Well, all of these have in common with the cent is 100, right? Century is 100 years. Centipede is 100 feet. Now, I've discovered that centipedes do not actually have 100 feet, but do you see that as an exaggeration? Oh, I've done that 100 times. Well, a little centipede, you might say, wow, that little creature has 100 feet. Not exactly, it's more like an exaggeration, but I think that's likely where the name centipede maybe came from. Centimeter, there's 100 centimeters. 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So cent, it's a C-E-N-T. Or if you speak Spanish, cien. See how that's all the Latin base has to do with 100. So 37%, all it means is 37 out of 100. Go ahead and try it on your calculator if you're more comfortable doing that. Do 37 out of 100 or 37 divided by 100 and you'd get 0.37. And as a percent, that's 37%. Let's look at some of these examples. Number 1, a poll was conducted of 540 voters asking for which candidate they planned to vote. The results are given in the table. What percent of the voters plan to vote for the Democrat? Well, the Democrat has 233 votes, and the total number of voters was 540. So what I'm looking for is what percent is, let me switch it over to the pen here, what percent is the 233 votes out of the total of 540 votes. And when I write that as a fraction, I can see that is the same as 233 divided by 540. And when I do that on my calculator, 233 divided by 540, I get that is approximately 4314, rounded to the nearest hundredth, 0.43. So we're looking at 43%. So from this poll, we can see that 43% of the voters voted for the Democrat. Let's look at number 2. Hakeem shot the basketball 28 times and made 17 baskets. What percent of his shots were baskets? We can see that in this case, we've got a success of 28 baskets, and we can see that we have a total of, oh, I'm sorry, I'm misreading that. He shot it 28 times, so it's, let me erase that so I don't confuse you with the colors. He shot it 28 times, so the total is 28, and it looks like he made it into the hoop 17 times. So we could say that he has a percent of 17 out of 28. So if I divide 17 divided by 28, divided by 28 gives me, I'm going to say not equals, but approximately, because it doesn't terminate, right? The decimal is 0.607142857, and it actually keeps going, but my calculator stops there. I'm going to write 4 decimal places, and if I rounded that to the nearest hundredth, that'd be 0.61, so I could call that 61%. Number 3, Max is reading Gone with the Wind. He has read 250 pages out of the 960 pages in the book. So I could write this as a fraction, 250 out of 906. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. 250 out of 960. So that's 250 divided by 960. Did you notice, by the way, that's going to be the same as 25 out of 96. So if I divide that, 25 divided by 96, I get the same thing that I'd have if I did 250 divided by 960. And that is approximately 0.2604. I'm going to write 4 decimal places so I can round it to the nearest hundredth. 0.26. So that's going to be 26%. Let's look at number 4. Rolex Smudge was figuring out his federal income tax. His income was $32,900, but he was able to subtract $6,400 in deductions. So how much taxable income does that give him? $32,900 minus $6,400 gives us his taxable income. So in the case you're not familiar with these deductions, what it means is there's a part of your income that you don't have to pay the taxes on. So we have $32,900 minus $6,400. Looks like his taxable income is going to be $26,500. And he is going to pay 18%, paid 18% of the remaining income in tax. So 18% of what? Of that remaining income, of the taxable income, of the difference between the $32,900 and the $6,400. So we need to calculate what is 18% of $2,650. Did you see this big key here? Of is going to mean to multiply. Maybe you remember that from the previous section we did on algebra translations, but of means multiply. So we're going to do 0.18 because 18% as a decimal is 0.18. So we're going to do 0.18 times 26,500. And that comes to 4,770. 4,770. Number 5. The Saturn V rocket is 110 6/10 meters tall. A model of the Saturn V rocket is 3 4/10 meters tall. The model height is what percent of the actual height? Now, let's keep these in order because it's asking specifically model height is what percent of the actual height. So I need that actual height in the denominator and the model height in the numerator. So the model is 3.4. Let me color code these. The model is 3.4. And the actual, it says the rocket is, so that's the actual height, 110 6/10. So we want to make sure we put these in the right order and put the 3 4/10 over the 110 6/10. If I divide that, 3.4 divided by 110.6, I'm going to get 0.0307. Let me make sure that I show more specifically that it's not equal, but about, because it keeps going, right? So that is, if I round it to the nearest hundredth, how many hundredths is that? That's 3 100ths, right? So we're looking at 3%. Number 6, the regular price of a Space Invader game is $52. But it's on sale and the discount is $13. What percent discount is this? We're looking for a $13 out of the $52 is what percent? So if I do 13 out of 52, it's 13 divided by 52. I'm going to get now I can use the equals because it terminates there. It's exactly 0.25. So 25%. 25%. Oh, that's not 25. And my print is pretty small. I think I circled the wrong one. Here's the 25%. TH, if you're filling in the puzzle. Number 7, Janice borrowed $1,500 from her credit union for 1 year. The annual interest rate was 9%. What was the total amount she owed the credit union at the end of the year? Principal plus interest. Well, first we need to find out how much interest she owes. She's going to owe 9% of $1,500. So if I multiply that, 0.09, 9 100ths, 9 out of 100 of 1,500. So 0.09 times 1,500, I get $135. Her interest amount is $135. So what is the total amount that she owes? Keep in mind, she's got to pay back what she borrowed, the $1,500. And then we're going to add to that the interest. So the total is going to be $1,635. I put this note so I'd remember to share this. You might be familiar with the I equals PRT. Interest equals principal times rate times time. In this case, the principal, if you were using this formula, principal, is 1,500. The rate, 9%, is 9 hundredths, 0.09. And time is 1 year. So our interest amount is 1,500 times 9 100ths times 1. Same thing we did here. Number 8. The numerators won 7 games. They lost 9 games and tied 2 games. So they won 7 out of 7 plus 9 plus 2 is 18 total games, right? So they won 7 out of 18. And if they won 7 out of 18, then that's going to be 17 divided by 18. Oh, I'm sorry, not 17. 7 out of 18. So 7 divided by 18, it looks like they won 0.388, and that repeats. If I round it to the nearest hundredth, it's going to be 39 hundredths, or 39%. What percent of the games did they win? They won 39% of the games. Number 9, the length of a classroom is 32 feet. The width is 75% of the length. Find the area of the classroom in square feet. Well, to find the area, we've got to find the width and the length, and the area is going to equal width times length. The width is 75% of the length, so 0.75 times the length of 32. So the width is 75% of 32, 0.75 times 32. The width is 24 units long. So we could label the width 24, and the length we already had as 32. So the area is going to be 24 times 32. And if you multiply those, you could get the area. I'll leave that multiplication for you to find your answer in the column. Number 10, 40 people each bought $2 lottery tickets. 3 of these people won $5. And you see this, I have it drawn out here. 3 won $5. 2 won $10, and 1 won $20. So the total amount of money won is what percent of the total amount spent on the tickets. Well, if 40 people bought $2, paid $2 each, then all together the total spent is going to be 40 times 2, right? Or $80. It looks like there's a total of $80. So spent is $80. How much was won? Well, the 3 winners of $5 each is $15. 2 winners of $10 each adds up to $20. And 1 winner of $20. Looks like our total is $55. And if I divide that, 55 divided by 80, I'm going to get 0.6875. Rounded to the nearest hundredth, that's going to be 69 out of 100, or 69%. Well, I hope you found this video helpful in completing your activity. If you do have more questions, please reach out to me. Here's a quick summary. Here's the nuts and bolts. Percent refers to per, or out of, 100. Percent means how many out of 100. And then, very important key word here, of. Of is going to mean to multiply. And that'll wrap up this topic.